Hi everyone, welcome back to Classic Camp Crafts. I'm Miss Julia, and in this video we'll learn how to do the stripe and the chevron friendship bracelet. You'll need your embroidery floss, your scissors, and your pin again. We'll start the same way that we did for the other friendship bracelets. I'm going to bring in my pillow as my work surface, and then for these ones, you'll need a little bit more string. So we'll start with the stripe. I'm going to measure from the tip of my longest finger all the way to my shoulder and then back again. So 2 times that length. And then I'll use my scissors and cut off. And then I'll use this string to measure for my others. There's a little bit of a knot in my string here, so I'll go ahead and get that out. There we go. Finish measuring. Cut off. Then I'll go ahead and make that same knot, loop it around my finger, over, under, through, and then take my safety pin and carefully put the sharp end through my loop. And then go ahead and tie my knot on tight and pin it into my pillow. So for the stripe, you'll want to lay out your string kind of like we did for the braid, just like this. And we're going to be working from left to right, and we'll start with the string that's over here, and we're going to make a stripe pattern. So I'll have a gray stripe, a dark brown stripe, and a light brown stripe. So if you want yours in a particular pattern, make sure to start with the stripe that you'd like on top, middle, and the end. And if you would like, you can do this with more strands of your embroidery floss. You'll just end up with more stripes. So we're going to take that same technique of making that number 4 shaped knot that we learned from our rope or our ladder friendship bracelet and do that for these. So I'll take my gray string here, and just with one of my other strings, I'm going to make my number 4, just like that. And I'm over here, under, up, and through. And then I'll hold just this one tight. I'm not doing anything with my light brown, and pull it tight for one knot, and then I'm going to repeat. So do a second knot, my number 4, over, under, up and through, and make my knot. Then I'm going to move this dark brown string over to the side, move my light brown string to the middle, and I'm going to repeat the same 2 knots onto my light brown. So number 4, over, under, up and through, hold it tight, pull your knot tight. Then same thing, number 4, over, under, up and through, hold your brown string and pull the knot tight. We'll go ahead and do the same thing now with our dark brown string. And you see how the gray string moved from being on the left over to being on my right? So let's do the same thing with my brown string. Number 4, over, under, up and through, hold my light brown string, make a knot. Here's another knot. We'll do the same thing with the gray. I'm making 2 knots each time. Now my dark brown string has traveled all the way from the left over here onto my right. Let's repeat with our light brown string. 1, 2 knots, 1, 2 knots. I'm going to speed up the video here so I can get a few stripes, and then I'll show you how that looks, and then I'll finish the rest off camera. Okay, so here is the start of my bracelet. I'll move it up so you can see it a little better. There is the start of my stripes. You can see how my colors are alternating. So I'll go ahead and finish the rest of this off camera so that you'll be able to see the final project. And if you use more strands, it will just be wider. Mine is just kind of going to be a skinnier bracelet. So I'll go ahead and finish off camera. Welcome back. I've just finished the rest of my striped friendship bracelet. So one of the things that you can see too is this is one of the reasons I like using a safety pin, is when your bracelet starts getting long, you can go ahead and move your safety pin from the knot at the top and carefully poke it through another part of your bracelet like this. That way there is less movement when you're trying to do your knots. But here is what my bracelet looks like. You can see all the little layers and stripes of color. So I'll go ahead, and I made sure that it's long enough to fit around my wrist, just like that. And I'll go ahead and knot off the end. So once again, loop it around your finger, over, under, through, and pull it tight. Go ahead and make a knot, and then you can cut off your extra string. And there is your striped bracelet. I like that one. So we'll go ahead and do the last of the bracelets I'm going to show you. Okay, so for the last one, I'm going to show you how to do the chevron. So for the chevron, you're going to need your string again. Go ahead and measure one that same length, so all the way from the tip of your longest finger up to your shoulder, and do that 2 times. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of extra to mine because I prefer to have a little bit longer of a tail to work with. And then I'll go ahead and do that with my other 2 colors as well. Here's the last one. So if you enjoy doing your friendship bracelets and you want to make more, this is called embroidery floss, and you can find it at most craft stores, and it will be by the cross stitch or embroidery section of the store, not by the sewing materials. So embroidery floss and by the cross stitch or embroidery section. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make 6 strands of embroidery floss by folding my floss in half and creating a knot. So I'll line up all the ends. These ones are just a tiny bit longer, so I'll cut them to size. So I lined up all of my ends, and I'm going to put them together and fold in half and find the middle here. So I'm holding all of these ones in one hand and pulling it tight to find the middle, kind of like I did with the boondoggle. Now I have sort of a little loop here, and I'm going to create a knot. So I'll wrap the loop around my finger. Then that's over, do under and through, and I want to hold on and keep that little loop. Pull it tight into a knot. So you can use this loop to help you tie on your bracelet once you're done. So I'll go ahead and put my pin through the loop and safety pin my bracelet onto my pillow. The next thing I'm going to do is lay out my strands. So this one is sort of like the stripe, but instead of just having one stripe, it's going to be in a V shape. So V-shaped stripes. So they'll be kind of this shape, and then there'll be stripes. That's what makes up the chevron. So I'm going to lay out my embroidery floss in sort of a mirror pattern. So both of my gray strands are on the outside here, then both of my dark brown, and then both of my light brown. So gray, dark brown, light brown, and they mirror each other with this being the middle. So I'm going to start on this side over here, the left side. We're going to use that same figure 4 knot, so I'll make a figure 4. This is over, under, and through, and pull it up tight. So 1, and then I'll make a second one. This is just like how we started the striped one as well. And then I'll move on to my light brown, make a figure 4, over, under and through, pull it tight, same thing, over, under, through, pull it tight, and then I'm going to leave this gray one in the middle. I don't want to cross over onto the other side yet. I'm going to move over here and grab this gray one, and we're going to do the mirror image of what we just did. So I'm going to make a backwards figure 4, or kind of like a letter P on this side, and this is over, under and through, and pull it tight. Make sure to hold on to your dark string there. We'll do it again, so make that backwards 4 or the letter P, holding on to this one, go over, under and through, pull it tight, then move this one out of the way, and onto my light brown, make that same shape, over, under and through, pull it tight, and make one more like this. Pull it tight. Now your 2 strands that were on the outside should be kind of meeting in the middle. So the strand that's on the left is going to be the one that I hold straight in my hand, and then I'm going to use the one on my right to make that backwards 4 or the letter P again. We'll go over, under, and through, and I'm holding the left strand tight and pull my knot, and then make one more knot the same way, pull it tight, and then I'm going to take the one that has been on the right this whole time and move it to the left, and take the one that's been on the left and move it to the right. Kind of rearrange all of my strands now so that they're lined up again. So now the color that had been in this position will be here. So this is my dark brown. The one that had been in the middle is now here. So this is my light brown, and then the one that had been on the outside is now in the middle here, and the 2 strands have flip-flop sides. So I'll show you one more of this at normal speed. So starting on this side with my outermost strand, making that number 4, over, under, through, tie my knot, number 4, over, under, through, tie my knot, move on to my next string, over, under, and through, tie my knot, over, under, through, tie my knot, and then leave it, move over here, make my little letter P, hold on, over, under and through, pull my knot tight, letter P, over, under, through, tie my knot, move this strand out of the way, move on to my gray strand, letter P, over, under, through, pull it tight, over, under, through, pull it tight. And now my two outside strands are meeting in the middle. I'm going to take the one that's on the right, make my letter P again, hold this other one from the left, go over, under, through, pull it tight. One more time, over, under, through, pull it tight. And then the one that's been on my right, I'll move to the left, and the left goes to the right. So I'm going to do a few more of these to start showing you the chevron pattern, but I'll speed it up. So now you can start to see that chevron pattern forming. Do you see the V's and how they kind of line up with each other? So I'll go ahead and finish this off camera, and then I'll bring it back and show you my finished bracelet. So here is my finished bracelet. You can see it's long enough to go all the way around my wrist. And I did that same trick where I moved my pin further down into my bracelet so it was easier for me. I'll take it off right now and I'll show you up close. So that is what the chevron pattern looks like. It's kind of a whole bunch of V shapes stacked on top of each other. So you can go ahead and do that same loop, over, under, through, and pull your knot tight. Then you can cut off the extra. And there we have our chevron and our stripe. So remember, you can go ahead and add more strands of embroidery floss if you'd like your bracelets to be wider. But just remember, they will take a little more time, but you can always pause and stop working on your project and come back to it later. Well, I hope you enjoy making a friendship bracelet and maybe even giving it to a friend or someone you love. Happy crafting! Bye!